Minister of Works David Umahi has called on state governors to get involved in supervisory activities of ongoing federal roads in their state, threatening not to refund any amount spent on a federal road project which is not properly supervised by the state. Umahi stated this at the weekend when he paid a courtesy visit to the Imo State Governor, Hope Uzodimma, at the government house of Owerri. He said that by doing so, quality job based on specification will be carried out. Also, the minister at the weekend insisted on constructing roads with concrete pavement, noting that it is long-lasting. Umahi also stated this during his visit to the governor of Ebonyi State, Francis Nwe Furu, as part of his tour of the state to inspect federal roads. The minister added that his insistence on concrete pavement for federal roads construction is because the ones he built in Ebonyi as governor of the state over the last 7 years have not collapsed. Meanwhile, contractors handling ongoing highway projects across the country have protested against the directive describing the move by Umahi as an alleged breach of contract that could lead to huge losses on the part of government. They said the decision by the minister to abruptly order contractors to dump asphalt for concrete technology was tantamount to shifting the goalposts in the middle of the game. They also say failure to reverse the directive might leave them no choice but to approach the court to look into the matter. But whether concrete or not, it is well understood that Nigerian roads are in deplorable state. From east to west, north to south, tales of woes is the order of the day when you pass through them. But the big question and the big story for today, are we going to see a change now? And what has to be done to ensure a smooth and lasting turnaround? Well, these and more as it concerns both federal and state road is what this edition of the big story is all about. We're talking about Nigerian roads dealing with the deplorable state they seem to be. And that's what we're having as a major discourse today on the big story. We're looking at the deplorable state of roads across the country, both federal and state, and what needs to be done to ensure a quick turnaround. But anyway, we're not turning around the issue, but rather hitting it head on. And that's why we have no other person but Chief Olori Magege helping out with the discussion. Good morning and welcome to the show, sir.
Good morning and good morning viewers and listeners.
Well, anyway, asking you if our roads is in a deplorable or sorry state is like asking a man to tell me the color of my suit. Well, funny, and honestly, it would be a silly question for me to ask. Forgive my language, but I know it's not going to be a silly question if I asked you, how did we get here? How come with so much money being spent, Warri to Bini Road, Bini to Ore, Lagos to Ibadan, Lafia to Akwanga, east to west, the roads are all in a deplorable state. What happened? How did we get here?
Well, the roads are terrible. Not deplorable, they are terrible.
Well, anyway. And I felt I said the worst. Anyway, just go ahead.
A friend of mine, family friend, traveled to Kano. She deals in foodstuff, rice, beans, and all that. And she left Kano Tuesday last week.
Left Kano Tuesday.
Kano Tuesday last week.
Which is a week and a day.
A week and a day. The load had not arrived. She had to abandon the vehicle conveying her load and take smaller vehicle to get here. Combination of bad road, insecurity, all sorts of things made it. Slept in Abuja, slept in Okene, slept in the jungle of somewhere unknown between Kogi and Ondo.
Okay.
Ondo. You see, when you get to Okene, you decide, you pray to, you throw the dice. Which road should I take? Both in terms of safety, not in terms of deplorable condition. All are deplorable. All are. So, slept somewhere in the jungle for 2 days, finally abandoning completely the vehicle she was traveling in, carrying her load, to FM&TV, somewhere in, I think that's in Kogi or in Ondo, boarding a vehicle there, another vehicle at the motor park, and getting home. So, you are talking of a week plus from Kano down to Agbaro. What kind of business are you going to go into to make money if you spend 1 week, 1 day, and the load have not arrived? We are in a terrible mess. A combination of things. Non-optimization of roads, of road transport, so to say. Or, well, we should include rail. Rail is part of the system.
Of course it is.
Are we properly utilizing the rail system? All this, I think, we will look into.
Yeah.
But how did we get here? We got here because we're not constructing roads. We're not constructing roads. We're just turning, coloring roads. That's what we're doing. We're not turning roads. Otherwise, why are roads not lasting? We saying the south, the roads in the Delta and the Niger Delta, because of the terrain condition. Yes. But there are places with worst conditions in the world. Terrain conditions in the world.
And we have credible
roads. Louisiana in the United States, for instance, is a marshy place. When you say bayou, but you are swamp. They construct roads through them, and the roads last literally forever. You see, the road is the biggest channel for corruption. That's where you can squeeze out 3, 4, 5, 50 billion. You start a road at 10 billion. Before you know it, you upgrade it, you upgrade it. You make adjustment, price adjustment. It goes to 50 billion. From there, it goes to 100 billion. So,
I seem to want to really take you on that because there was a mild drama at the ad hoc committee investigative hearing on Thursday last week. And that's when a construction company, DC Engineering Limited, accused officials of the Federal Ministry of Works under former Minister Baba Tunde Fashola of inflicting a road contract from 9.8 billion to about 54.3 billion. Now, because you talked about corruption, and that's why I'm bringing this up. And this brings me to that question you just said now. Why is it that monumental corruption has always taken place both at the state and federal level when it comes to the issue of road construction? Undermining we have due diligence. I don't understand.
Look, when you say due diligence,
yes,
that is very ambiguous. Huh? You are constructing a road, right?
Yes.
And you say this road must have 20 bridges, and the bridges to certain specification.
Of course.
To the layman listening to us, you say put 20 bags of cement, huh? 1 bag of cement to 2 headpans of sand, and 20 headpans of granite, right?
Yeah.
And you mix in certain proportion.
Yeah.
That is where corruption begins. You don't mix 20 headpans. You put 10. You put more sand. Reduce cement. You're supposed to put 20, 5/8. Part of your reinforcement. Yeah. You put 10. The man who is coming to inspect, he receives his kickback. He goes home. He is satisfied that it is 20. Once you pour concrete on it, you are not able to inspect, to count the number of rod you put there. So, not only that, you say put 1 foot of stone base. Yeah. You put only 10 inches. You put 9 inches. Nobody knows. Nobody goes to check. The person who is supposed to check is there to supervise that you do the 9 inches or 8 inches because he has received his cut. As
required by contract.
Yes, he has received his cut. That is why these roads are not lasting. That's why, apart from poor designs, apart from poor designs, roads breaking down, poor drainages. Because the road and drainages, they go hand in hand. If water, I am not an engineer. I'm not an engineer. I must say that. But if water does not flow, if water remains stationary on the road,
it's quite evident.
It collapses very quickly.
It does.
So all these shortcuts to make money are the causes of road collapse, and that's the level of corruption. Supervision is primary issue. Supervision.
Now, let's talk about the contract, because the Minister for Works recently, David Umahi, recently said there will be a total review of most of the contracts already signed by contractors who are talking about ongoing projects. And he said they need to ascertain the level of works done because we do know some roads have been completed on paper, but yet they are not there. So he talked about a review of most of the contracts. He's going to call for a total review of the contracts, especially for roads that have been signed for like 10 years back. But my question now is that not going to be more of a distraction? And the reason I ask, because we're always used to it, having to investigate or review, and we're so carried away with the revelations that will come, that sometimes outcomes never come from such revelations or even investigation. But we are now so distracted with those revelations that we do not even settle down for the business of the day. So the question now is, should there be a review in itself? Or should we not just continue from where we have, put up a new setting, put up a new standard, and move on?
There cannot be a forward movement if we do not assess where we are coming from.
But have we been able to use the
we have not been able to, for the same reason of corruption. All right? Corruption is not just stealing money. Influence wielding.
Of course it is.
Look at Sapele, that is Sapele Eku Agbo Road. Yeah. We understood it. It was awarded. Contractor mobilized to site with billions of naira. We know the contractor. We won't say anything on air.
Yes.
The road is not done. Not done. Not even 1 foot of pavement done. And it should be investigated. Why should it be investigated? But that should not distract the construction of the road.
That's where the question lies.
Yes.
We're so carried away with so much investigation. It hits the front pages of news outlets. And at the end, nothing comes out of it.
Yeah, but you see, investigation should not stop work.
But has that not been the case in Nigeria?
Very sad. Very, very sad. You see, investigation is to make money. That's what it is in Nigeria. Investigation is not to get results. It's to get your cut from the money that has been embezzled. It's as simple as that. But having said that, we must investigate. Okay. We must investigate. We can't say, let's just go on. Go on. No. Umahi has just come in now.
Of course.
When Fashola came in as a super minister, housing,
and works and power.
Works and power. He was a super minister. Is it not the one now that is being investigated?
So that brings us back to the question.
Yes. So that's what I'm saying. Umahi should do his work. Huh? Investigation can be carried on simultaneously with work being done. It's not to disturb the work. If a contractor is the cause of the problem, remove him, re-award it to somebody else. Why you investigate the contractor? They can go on simultaneously by two different bodies.
Okay.
Huh? The contractor...
Rather than having the Ministry of Works making through with those investigations.
Yes. And let's see the result. Not just being, how will I put it, a fizzle in the pan. Okay. And you make a lot of noise, you are traveling and all that. You want to draw attention to yourself. That's not it. Roads are bad.
That's the bottom line.
Let's get the job done. Let's fix them, and fix them very well.
Okay, now let's continue with this. In case you're joining us, it's Quest today, and we're talking about the deplorable state of Nigerian roads, both state and federal roads, and what needs to be done, knowing that the new minister seems to be on board, and a whole lot of controversy seems to surround most of his new directive. All of that is what we're looking at on the big story for today. But we still have no other person but Chief Olori Magige helping out. Now, let's come to another major issue. And is the issue of refund to state governors on account of federal roads they've done. As it stands, the federal government have refunded about 859.7 billion naira to various state governments as reimbursement for the out-of-pocket expenditure incurred in constructing federal roads over the period of 8 years. But yet, most state governors have refused to do federal roads. That's what we see. So, but my question, should that be the case? Because that's why we see most of the roads are in deplorable condition, because at the end they will always say it's federal roads. And a clear example of that is what's playing out in Edo State. Go to the Saple Road, go to that of Ekpoma Road. It is in a sorry state, and as it stands, the governor and the federal government are having it back and forth. Who to blame? We even saw the governor going to erect a signpost on Saple Road saying, please do not blame the state government. This is a federal road. So should that be the case? And should that be happening?
It shouldn't be happening. It should not be happening. We have the same problem with federal government in Delta State.
Okay.
This same Sapele, Eku, Agbo Road.
Yes.
Look at the approach Delta State is following. Talking with the federal government, negotiating with the federal government, and once agreements have been signed, Delta State government will move in. Let's work on a template, not just rushing to site, doing anyhow, or passing buck, passing blame. That's not it. You see, federal roads, when you say federal roads, they pass through states. They are interstate roads, and they push commerce
into and out of the state.
Yes. If goods don't move, they don't buy them. Nobody buys them. Goods must move from point A, where they are made or produced, to point B or C or D, where they are used. People buy them, where people buy them. So when you start to say that the roads, federal, these are federal roads, therefore federal responsibility, go to federal government, come to a terms, come to agreement, do it. Because it's the people of your state that majorly suffer because of this bad road. Look at Ologbo Road.
Yeah.
People who suffer most because of that road are Edo Deltans. They are Edo Deltans that spend days at Ologbo. They are abandoning Aushi Road, going out to Airfar Alaye. The money that the people who live along the road make, they've been diverted away. So it's been short-sighted to say, this is a federal road, I'm going to leave it. This Ugale Asaba is a federal road. That's purely a federal road. But state government have been battling with that road to make it more trouble. And we are all seeing the improvement. We're all enjoying it. So if states get entangled with federal government over roads that pass through his state, and he put signboard. Signboard is not it. We need solution. We don't want to pass box. We need solution.
But would you also blame some state governors, because they keep complaining about this, that when you now do a road, to get refunded from federal government, it takes a while. And at the end, even if the money comes, it comes in bits, and you do not even get a full bulk of it. Hence the need for them to say, okay, well, I'm just taking my hands off the federal roads. So should that not also be a reason? And how much of confidence building will it be for state, or federal rather, to keep repaying states on account of the roads that they do? But one major question also I'll ask, it looks as if a whole lot of politics seems to come into play, because we see that most APC states are being refunded, and that of PDP takes a long while.
That's the point I wanted to come to. Politics. If PDP were in Abuja, I don't think Obaseki would go to that length. But once governments at various levels are in place, and they've passed through the tribunal, and they've been legitimized, let us go into governance.
Irrespective of the party.
Yes, let's leave politics out of it all. Let's leave politics out of it. But at the federal and the state, I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not.
So you feel strongly that it's politics that is playing out in Edo State?
I think it is strongly politics. Strongly politics. Want to paint PDP in such a light that they may not win election easily again. But that is the people that suffer. Government should be people-oriented, not party-oriented. People-oriented. Right now in Delta State, PDP is in power. It is not a government of PDP people. It's a government of Delta State. Tinubu is at the center. Yeah. It's not a government for APC people. It's government for all Nigerians. So let's understand that. It is not only APC that people that passes road that are built by APC government. Everybody passes through that road. Yeah. So let's focus more on the development of our country economically. Because if roads are bad, things move very slowly.
Now, let's still come to it, because Delta State is not also left out in having bad roads. Well, if you go through all the 3 senatorial districts also, the complaints are there of deplorable state of the roads. And now many persons will also talk. You made mention of the Ugeli Asaba and Uzoros Asaba road. And there are many persons, on mind you say it's a federal road, but many would also agree that the state should play a major role. And 2 decades is in under construction. And people are asking, is there a lack of priority or a lack of interest in dealing with these problems that we're having so many bad roads in Delta State as it stands?
To say that we're having so many bad roads in Delta State, we're exaggerating. The governor is commissioning roads as we are talking. Are those roads in the air? Are those roads in another planet? No. PTI Road has been approved by ESCO for the award. Yes. Lower and Upper Ridgeway, Cemetery Road. They've all been approved for multi-billion naira award. Work is ongoing. Don't forget, this is rainy season.
Of course.
And the rains are unusually heavy this period. Are you going to start constructing road under water? The government has just the governor has just resumed office in May. So we got to give time. Give him time. Roads are constructed during the dry season. Majorly.
But people will take a swipe at that, knowing that in the last 8 years, PDP has been in place, and we had a governor who said he was more of a roadmaster, but people are also not happy with the state of the roads in Delta State. Now putting it on the new administration to deal with those problems. That's the question.
You see, when you are sitting down in government house,
yes,
you are the target. People see what you ought to be doing, not what you are doing. People are measuring you by their expectation. Ugele Asaba Road has been under construction. Has been under construction since Ibori's time.
Yes. That's why I said 2 decades.
I agree with you. But we still are using the road. It's not from Ozoro. Yeah. Pass almost to Ogwachuku. Almost yes. Ogwachuku. Yeah. Yeah. We've been using it very well. Just past Osisa. We've been using it very well. They finished that section of it. But the terrain is very difficult. That is why somebody is suggesting here now that we should start using cement, concrete roads. Are you following what I'm saying?
Yes. But I'll follow that, and we'll continue on the concrete issue. But I'll plead with you. Let's go on a break now. Okay. We need to go on a break. But when we come back, we'll continue our discussion as we look at the deplorable state of our roads and what needs to be done for a quick turnaround, just to ensure that we seem to be in the right direction. And that's the road construction that will stand the test of time. Let's go on a break. Minister